to another episode of a Holy Rust Revival. I'm Rob Smith, your host. The cool factor has gone up in the shop today. The old 46 Willys is back in the shop. And we're going to take a break on the Mustang for just a few weeks and focus on the Willys. Some of you may have seen about 6 months ago, I did a video where I was planning on reviving this project and following it all the way through on videos, and then dadgummit if another Mustang didn't fall in my lap. And it was just too good of an offer to pass up, in a beautiful motor, car that needs some work. But if you're following me, you're seeing a lot of those episodes. As a matter of fact, I've got footage where I'm working on the cow section now. So when I jump back on that, I'll include that footage back into completion. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing this one back up is every year at Scout Camp here in Meridian, Mississippi, at Camp Bonacci, I teach automotive mechanics. So about 4 days, I'll have probably 10 to 12 young men, maybe some young women too, that are interested in automotive technology, maybe mechanics, maybe anything in the automotive field. But I've always tried to take some neat and interesting projects with me to camp so that they would be engaged. You know, anybody can take a textbook and pick it up and sit around a table and talk about stuff, but wouldn't you rather put your hands on it? So that's what we're going to do with the old Willys. So for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be working feverishly to get this thing to a point that I can actually put it on a trailer, transport it about 20 miles to camp, and get it to the point to where she's almost ready to fire up. That's going to be a lot of work. It may not look like it, but the way that it sits right now, I just have the body sitting on the frame. I've got it lined up perfectly like I want it, and I'm going to start marking where I need to drill holes in the body as well as the frame and different places that I have repaired that need drilling. So tomorrow, Braden, my youngest son, is going to be here. Braden is my strong back and weak mind, if you know what I mean. Now, he's a very bright young man, but he's a stocky young man. And he's going to be helping me take this body on and off so that we can drill holes. And as you can see, it's nasty and dirty. It's been sitting in a tractor shed for 6 months, kind of in the open air, not being rained on, but in the open air. So we'll get the pressure washer out tomorrow, pressure wash the frame, get everything clean, get the body clean again, and treat the frame, do rust treatment on the frame as well as the underside of the tub, so that I can go ahead and permanently put the body on the frame. And quite honestly, I'm ready to get this thing going. I have missed this beautiful fall weather this year, not having a Jeep, a topless Jeep, where I can get out and enjoy the beautiful creation and the beautiful fall leaves. It's just not the same when you've got a hood over you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to probably conclude this segment tonight. This is Friday night, so this is going to be a weekend warrior experience. As a matter of fact, we got other things going on this weekend. I've got to take my 41 John Deere B to the church for a hayride on Sunday. So we not only have to work on this tomorrow, but I've got to work on a trailer to get ready for a hayride for a lot of little kids to be on. So I've got to build some sides and get some hay on it and get the tractor loaded up and take it to town. So I'm really nervous about that one. That's the first time that John Deere has been off this property in almost 80 years. So it has lived its entire life within about a 2-mile radius of where we're standing right here. And I'm about to take it 20 miles into Meridian, Mississippi for a hayride. So I'm a little nervous about that, but it's going to be fine. It's running well, but it's, of course, that old flywheel tractor, and it's going to take a lot of work to get it running and keep it running. So, all right, well, look, I may get the camera for a second, give you a little walk around and show you some things I've done since the last video I did, I think 6 months ago on this, and get you prepared for what we're going to do tomorrow. So last night I pilfered around in my spare parts and found enough parts. I found the buckets as well as the retaining rings and the beauty rings, and even found headlights to put in the hole. fella's just got a lot of stuff. Matter of fact, they got an old bus down in the woods that is just slammed full of old Jeep Willys parts. A while back, I hit a mother load of parts that a fellow was trying to get rid of out of a shop, and I just backed my truck up. And I mean, I've got axle shafts, I've got heads, I've got, you name it. I probably have any OEM part that a fella would ever need. But anywho, the grill is nice. But I had a revelation last night. As you're sitting at this angle, that's why I have you at this angle, I just want you to imagine for a second that there's about a 1-year-old who's trying to poo in his diaper. Have you ever seen that before? You know how they get wide-eyed and they start grunting and they have not a frown, but just a straight smile on their face? Doesn't that look like a 1-year-old pooing in their diaper? I mean, look, can you see it? All right, maybe I'll shoot a picture up so you can get a better idea. Anyway, that's done. No, well, not done. I just have the lights in there. The fenders are on by 1 or 2 bolts. Like I said, I'm about to rip it all back apart again. Here's a little sneak peek of something we're going to be doing soon. I've got a tilt steering column that's going to go in. So I've got to, it's just sitting in there now. I have rope around it, holding it in there. But I've got it through the original hole where the steering column goes. So I've got to build, you can't see it because the fender's on, I've got to build a shaft that comes all the way to this power steering gearbox. Yes, the old Willys is going to have power steering. As fella get older, that's just something he needs. All right, I don't know if I'm gonna build these old seat frames. I just happen to have them. Like again, like I said, they were in my spare parts bins. I'll probably use them for now. I'll clean them up, paint them, maybe put a seat bottom at least in them right now. Probably won't do much to the back, but I'm thinking later on I may cut the tub like I see a lot of people do. They'll cut a chunk out and move this section back so that you can put a better seat in here and get better leg room. Because these old Willys Jeeps just weren't famous for a lot of leg room. Oh, let's just walk around. See how nasty it is? We'll get the pressure washer out tomorrow and take care of things. Oh, I even have the windshield on there and even put the brackets on to hold the windshield. They're a little loose. I've got to do some adjusting. Something just isn't exactly right. But again, I just have them on there just so I won't lose the parts, basically. All right, let me show you something else. About 2 years ago, I sent off a wiring harness out of a 2000 Chevy Blazer. Matter of fact, you can see the sticker right here. I sent this whole computer right here and the original wiring harness off to Novak Conversions. Can you see that right there? Novak Conversions. So this is a 2000 4.3. And I had them program the automatic transmission out of this box because I'm running a SM465 in that Jeep. So it does not have a automatic transmission anymore. But they did a beautiful job on the wiring harness. I basically just ripped everything I could out of the old S10 Blazer and just put it in a box and shipped it off to them. And they took all of my, basically the old connections, and they rewired everything so that all I have to do is plug things in. For example, that's a passenger front O2 sensor. There it is, right there. I know what side it's on. I know where to plug it in. That is driver front O2 sensor. MAF sensor, idle air temperature, or idle, IET, yeah. Anywho, so all of this is labeled very, very well. It doesn't leave any question in our mind as to where things go. See, there's the ground. Also built into it is an electric fan relay, which I am going to run an electric fan on this unit. And that's actually on order, by the way. I ordered that from Advanced Adapters to where the radiator will fit perfectly in this hole and cool that 4.3 V6. It's actually built and designed for the 4.3, but also to fit in the original Willys grill. So that's going to be a very nice addition. Also built into the wiring harness, they included an aftermarket, oops, excuse me, gotta use my hands here a second, an aftermarket fuse box and relays. So very, very nice. It's an absolute complete plug and play situation. See, you just hook that to the battery. That's your positive to the battery. That feeds the computer. And you've got the ground over there, and you run a wire to the fuel pump in the back, and basically you just hook everything up on the motor as it was originally in the car, and it's ready to go. And I have actually, when I got this back 2 years ago, I just wanted to make sure, because I knew it was going to be a while before I actually get the Jeep running. I did hook the computer up, hook the positive ground and the fuel pump up, and the engine fired right up. So I don't have any doubt in my mind that this is going to be good. Here's something else. This is the port that you can hook your handheld computer to up to check codes and things like that. That will actually mount under the dash. So again, beautiful, wonderful scenario. It was a little pricey. I can't remember exactly what it was. I want to say in my mind it was about $1,000. I know that sounds like a lot, but think about what I got. I got a computer program and a wiring harness that I don't have to fool with. I just completely plug it in, hook things up, and take off. So I think that was money well spent to go that route. Oh, and I also have a mounting bracket for underneath the dash in the old Willys for the computer to go in. So that's nice. That's nice that they sent that as well. Okay, y'all, it's about 9 o'clock. Well, actually, it's more like 10 o'clock. And I think this old boy is going to go to bed because Braden is going to be here bright and early in the morning, and we're going to start ripping this thing apart, drilling, doing all kind of stuff to it. And I hope to get the camera on and show you a little bit of what we do. So good night, y'all. I'll see you in the morning. Well, y'all, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I didn't go to bed. Matter of fact, the temperature really just started cooling off here, and it just kind of reinvigorated me to have a little more of a shop night. But let me kind of show you what I'm going to do before I go to bed. I may have said in my last video that I actually put in a CJ2A gas tank between the frame rails. I had to cut out a few pieces of the frame in here to make it fit and put in a new channel iron cross member across there. So a lot of modifications went on there. But originally the gas tank was under the seat, under the driver's seat. And you can actually see where the fuel neck was supposed to go right there. And I do have a tank, but I just don't like having a tank under my seat. If I keep these seats, I might actually put that tank in there for a reserve tank and pump fuel back to the main tank if I need it. I don't know. That's a little ways down the road. So what I'm doing here is I actually bought this plate that goes in the CJ5. If you'll know the old CJ5s, they have the fuel neck filler right here in the back. Let me take you inside and show you. It's just kind of ironic that that tank fits perfectly over the top of the frame rail there. I've got to fix that clamp. But it goes all the way up back into here, and you can see that I already have the filler neck on there. I'm just about to cut out the hole and put the housing in there and cross my fingers and hope that it all fits. So, all right, let me do a little grinding and I'll bring you back and show you the hole. You know, it always makes me nervous cutting a hole in a brand new body, but it's got to be done. And if I mess up, I just fix it and we move on to something else. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me grind a minute. Okay, let me show you what I've done. I took my cutoff wheel and cut our square out, a rectangle rather. Certainly makes me nervous cutting on this new steel. However, I think it turned out well. You can see the neck is close to there, and this fits in the hole. And look at there, voila. That neck fits right snugly where it's supposed to. Now I'm not going to bolt all this together right now because remember, we're taking this body off tomorrow, so I just wanted to show you how everything fit up. I'm sure there's supposed to be stainless steel bolts and screws that go in this, and I'm sure, I think I ordered this probably 2 years ago, and no doubt I've probably lost all the hardware. But anyway, that's where we are tonight. I am going to go to bed at this point, so it's about 11 o'clock, and I think this is a very satisfying note to end on tonight. All right, good night, y'all. Hey, good morning, y'all. It's a new morning. It's a beautiful morning here in Mississippi. It was in the low 60s this morning. Full moon last night. I slept with the windows open last night. Might even be why my voice is a little raspy this morning, but it felt so good. Wonderful, wonderful, beautiful night. And you know, feller went to bed last night, and he couldn't get stuff off his mind. You know what I'm saying? I said I was going to leave here and go to bed, but when you literally go to bed, you just sit there and roll around with thoughts on your mind. And my two thoughts last night were this: I need to finish the transmission tunnel before Braden gets here this morning, because I want to get that in place so I can lift the body and then weld back behind it and everything. And I had already made the top part of the transmission tunnel to join everything to. The other thing that was on my mind when I left last night was where I was going to mount the ECM, or the computer, for that 4.3. And I got to taking this computer and holding it up in different places, and I'm just telling you, there's not many places on a Willys Jeep that you can put a computer. By the way, when this Jeep was designed, there was not even a consideration of a computer being on a car. Couldn't find anywhere under the hood to put it. The one place that I thought I might could put it, I may need to put my air cleaner, my air filter for the engine. And also, this is going to be a trail rig. I mean, it's going to see some abuse, might even see some water crossings from time to time, so I certainly can't hang my computer low. I thought about putting it in that toolbox right there, but that toolbox fills up with water from time to time, and I intend on probably not even putting a top on this thing. I may rhino line the inside and get it to where I can just let rain come in. I can just park it in the rain without any worries of anything happening in the interior. Plus, it's going to see some mud. It's going to see, you know, various other things that could be harmful to a computer. So I combined those two thoughts together last night, and I had this thought on this thing that I already built for the transmission tunnel. Why not go ahead and mount the computer to that and tuck the computer way up under the dash where the wires are almost touching the top of the dash here. And that would be as high as I could get it out of the way, and it would protect it. I think it would protect the wiring harness much better than the computer being inside than out there in a very abusive environment. So here's what I have done. I told you last night that Novak had sent a bracket for the computer, but it didn't work. It was, I think, for a different style computer. The earlier 90s model computers were a lot smaller than this, and I think that's what was, I don't know. Anyway, I still have the stock bracket that came out of the S10 Blazer, and it's good enough. I mean, it's sturdy. It's plastic, but it's sturdy enough, and it's held up in that Blazer for this many years. So I have basically taken the thing that I built for the top of the transmission tunnel, and I have retrofitted it for this bracket. And what I have also done, I don't know if you can see, but I welded nuts on the back side so that putting the computer in would be easy in the future, or easier than having to go hold nuts on the back side of the firewall while you're trying to hold the bolt on the other side. So let's just see if I can get these bolts started so I can show you. There we go. There we go. So the computer would already be mounted in the bracket. there we go. So there it is. So that will be mounted up in the firewall in a very protected place. And I'm thinking about even putting some spacers back here behind the computer to, well, I don't know, there's airspace there. I figured heat from the engine might affect it a little bit right there, but I don't think it'll be bad. There's plenty of airspace all around that computer, and that's what those cooling fins are for. So I know what you're thinking. Rob, you just have a great plan in your mind. No, he doesn't. This project is just kind of happening as it happens, if you know what I mean. I'm kind of anxious to see what my big plan is too. So y'all hold tight. I'll hold tight. We'll see how it turns out in the end, see if it's going to be any good. Anyway, the next thing I need to do is get this welded in and start patching in the pieces I need to complete the tunnel under there. So I'll bring you back in and show you that in just a moment. Okay, y'all, look who I have with me. I've been telling you the whole video that Braden's coming. He's finally here. He looks good in overalls, doesn't he? Hey, wonder what Tristan's doing today. Give him a little shout out to Tristan. And I wanted to wait till Braden got here to give Tristan a shout out. I know you've heard me say before, but Tristan is my biggest fan. Pretty much after every video, I get a picture of him watching the video in his living room with it on the TV screen. So I just want to say hey to Tristan. Love you, buddy. Hope you're doing good. If you love tractors, I know you love Jeeps too. So here you go, man. All right, let me turn the camera around and show you some of the transmission tunnel that we finished up. All right, there's the transmission tunnel. Now, please don't look good. Don't critique what's going on here. I basically just have stuff tacked in for the most part. When I take the body off, I'm going to weld it really good from the backside and clean everything up with a wire brush, and that's going to look so much better, especially when you get a coat of bed liner on it. You won't even be able to tell some of that stuff, right, Braden? But also notice that the computer is mounted up as well, with plenty of room for the wiring harness at the top. So I am so glad I was able to get the computer in that spot to not only keep it safe, but the only space I could have put it was right here in the engine bay, and that's just a very bad environment right there. Plus, I'm probably going to have to move this over and put my air filter and cleaner in that spot. And of course, the radiator is filling this hole. And over here, the battery is going, so that consumes that space. Maybe in there, but again, that's going to be a harsh environment, and I may put a heater box in this thing one day, so I didn't want it to get in the way of the hoses there. All right, Braden and I, well, first of all, let me show you what Braden's been doing out here. He's been taking the wire brush and getting after the old seats here. We're going to give it a rust treatment and probably do a pour 15 treatment on it to get that old seat frame protected in the future. All right, so we've got another task. We've got to go get this trailer ready for a hayride, so we're probably going to put the camera down a little bit, hopefully get to some more tasks. We've got to at least get the body off today, so stay tuned. Hey y'all, we're near about the end of the day on Saturday. I know you always see me in overalls, and actually I got to head to the house in a minute to go to the symphony with my wife. So I do have a little cultured side, even though this is what you see most of the time. So we've got to cut it off right here because I have a really hot date tonight. But I wanted to show you the progress of where we were. And by the way, Braden is my camera operator there in the back, so thank you, Braden. We were able to lift the body off the frame and get it set up long ways so I could get to the back side of this transmission tunnel that I've been working on. And y'all please don't get a close-up of this, Braden, because it's nasty. I'm really embarrassed for you to see it, but basically everything is in place, and now I'm going to come in and clean everything up and weld it finally in. Also, got to drill some holes, boom, 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 in the body. We've already drilled the holes in the frame for the body, so we're not far away from being able to put this thing back on permanently. But while it's sitting up like this, I want to rust treat it. It came from the factory with a really good primer on it. Now I want to, I don't know, pour 15 or either do a truck bed lining in. Okay, but anyway, over here, I know I've been talking to y'all a lot about the stuff that I put in it. There's the CJ2A gas tank that I was talking to you about earlier, where we set up this fuel deck to go out of the back. I simply had to cut out this cross member, move it forward a couple of inches, and then I put this heavy-duty bumper on the back and had to notch it out just a little bit. And Braden, if you'll come over here. The only issue with this particular tank setup, if you decide to do this, is the clearance of your rear axle. I can get my whole arm in there now, but I had to do a lot of massaging. I had to knock the skid plate up. I had to actually move this tank back as far as it would go so that it wouldn't hit the rear differential. So that's one issue that you need to look out for if you're doing a CJ2A gas tank. Here's the old Dana Spicer 18 transfer case. This is the original transfer case that came in this Jeep. It is fitted to an SM465 GM transmission with a granny load, and I had to adapt that to a 2000 Chevrolet 4.3 V6. So this is 1946, this is 1976, and this is 2000. Can you believe that something from 80 years ago could actually made up to something that's all the way 2000? So that's pretty amazing. That took a lot of head scratching to make that happen. Also, I have the vehicle speed sensor that I had to adapt to the Dana 18 so that the computer will know how fast the vehicle is going to calibrate everything. All right, outside of that, anything else I need to show you? Power steering set up. You can see that. This is the brake setup that I was telling y'all about earlier. We got to get the pedal all hooked back up and whatnot. Well, any hoosers. The brakes are all working. Everything is plumb. Master cylinder is good. This is the clutch pedal. You can see that I actually retrofitted the existing clutch mechanism to the modern, well, I say modern, the 1976 model transfer case, so all of that works together. At least I hope so anyway. When we put it together, we shall see. Okay, I think that's going to conclude our video today. We have sweated today. It's been almost 90 degrees and it's 3 days from Halloween. And that's crazy in Mississippi, but I understand next week it's supposed to get down below freezing, so I'm very happy for that. Well, speaking of Halloween, dad joke as we leave today. Why don't you ever see a skeleton unhappy or upset? Because nothing can get under its skin. All right, I'm sorry, y'all. That's terrible. Terrible dad joke. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of basically a weekend warrior. That's what this is. I may also include some video right after this of Braden and I loading the John Deere B up on the trailer, and we had a little mishap where we put some sides on the trailer and the shafts coming out of the rear axles of the tractor wouldn't go on there because of those sides. So anyway, that's something we had to back up and fix today. But God bless y'all. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Well, it's almost over. But anyway, great weekend. Whenever you're watching this, have a great time. We'll see you next time on Holy Rust Revival.
They're going to have to come out for you to get on.
Right over here.
Yeah.